All right, guys. In this episode of the King Closer Reacts, we're going to find out if the man who finished in third place in the 2021 Closer Olympics and in fourth place in the 2023 Closer Olympics, Max Jimenez, is a closer or not. Now, I know that he's a highly trained salesman, but is he a closer? We're going to find out. This is posted on his YouTube channel. Let's get into it. It's a longer call. I think it's like close to 30 minutes. So we should have plenty to react to. Let's get into the call now. It looks like where we're picking up is he had called this seller during a live, left a voicemail. The seller then called back in. His team answered the phone, told him he was on another call. And then this is him getting a call back from the seller. Let's get into it.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah, I'm returning your call. I'm having trouble with my phone. Did you just call me?
I did, Bob. I called you earlier, and yeah, I heard you talk, and I was trying to talk, but yeah. So thank you for calling me back.
Yeah. What's happening?
Not too much, Bob. I was calling you because you had spoken to one of my team members, Carl, about your property over in Tucson.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to call you because, Carl left some notes here for me in regards to, you wanting to sell the property. You had some interest, in getting rid of it. And what I always tell people about is the notes don't always tell the whole story. So is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Now, what property are you talking about?
So the one I'm looking at right now is 356 North Euclid Ave.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect.
So right off the bat, some notes that I'm seeing with this seller, elderly gentleman, very straightforward, kind of blunt personality. This is an ideal type of scenario for me to talk to. I love these types of sellers. I love opening them up, getting them to really talk about their pain, their motivation, understanding. Max has asked some questions about, getting validation on, hey, is it okay if I ask you some questions? Sometimes that can backfire with this type of seller, but this does indicate right out of the gates, like, hey, with that type of a personality and with him saying, yeah, go ahead, there is probably motivation as to why he wants to sell. So I'm assuming right here, Max is going to do a pretty good job of finding out that pain and motivation early on.
Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have it looks like you have another one, right? As well?
I got four more. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, like I said, Carl left the notes. I just wanted to follow up on some of the notes. So what I'm looking at is, a couple of the reasons why you were considering selling was, obviously, you're looking to, you have multiple properties. Sounds like you're wanting to maybe offload some of them. So what else? I mean, as far as selling them, are these rental properties right now? Or what are they? Can you tell me a little more about them?
Yeah. There are three properties on the lot. One is it's listed as 804 East 7th Street. And the other two properties, a guest house and a 3-bedroom house, are on Euclid.
Mm-hmm.
The 2-bedroom house has a fireplace, walled in yard. The guest house, a big lot,
Mm-hmm.
secured parking behind a big gate. And the third house has 3 bedrooms, open space, kitchen, dining, living room area, and 3 pretty big bedrooms and a walled-in patio.
So one thing to note right there, the way that Max framed those early questions did steer the seller down the path of talking about the property specifics, right? So what we're finding out is this multiple properties. So this is a cash flow play. He's going to need to know the rental numbers, as well as, remember, as a wholesaler, our job is to provide equity to our end buyers, but also in this scenario, because there's multiple properties being purchased and some of them even might be tenant occupied, it's also to provide the cash flow here. So it's going to take some analysis skills, probably going to have to talk about math and cash flow and rent rates inside of this conversation. But very early on, due to the questions, the way that they were asked, it steered the seller to only talk about the property details themselves, which quite frankly, Max could have just gotten that information himself. So we haven't really gotten a ton yet as to understanding why he wants to sell, pain, motivation, anything like that. So Max is going to have to do a really good job of asking questions here to get this seller to open up. He doesn't sound like he's the type that will open up just without being pushed in that direction. But one thing I will say about elderly people is if they get comfortable with you, they can be one of the longer conversations because they'll open up about anything and everything going on in their scenario.
Okay. Got it. And these are all, these properties you just mentioned right now, these are all on the Euclid site?
Yeah. And one of them is facing Euclid, but the main house is facing 7th Street. It's on the corner.
Yes, I see that now.
804 East 7th, and then there's 2 more houses on Euclid.
Got it. Okay. Got it. I see. That makes sense now. So the one facing the 7th Street is the 804, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay. That's cool. So basically all the properties are on the same parcel. There's no, like, we don't have to jump to the parcel.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Now the other thing Carl mentioned to me, looks like, obviously one of your concerns was potentially selling them. I don't know. This is what the note says. I just want to get clear in that is maybe your capital gains. Is that, I'm hearing a concern about that as well?
Well, it is a concern. And he thought we could work things out where I would carry the mortgage or whatever. But I just want to get rid of it.
So you're not, you wouldn't be open for us to make you payments?
No. I'm too old. I'm 89 in about 6 months.
Wow. You sound very good for 89 years old.
So interesting scenario there. He already, because this is I believe a cold call lead, somehow, someone on his team had already spoken to the seller, right? So let's just assume it's a cold call lead, and that's how they gathered this information. He already knew some pain and motivation, so maybe that's why he went into those property specifics just to understand, like, what is it that I'm negotiating on here? Okay, it's 3 separate houses on one parcel, and then having that seller say, hey, I have a problem. I'm concerned about the capital gains taxes. But very quickly, he's already scratched off, hey, this guy is not open to terms. So now he's going to go into the rapport building phase, right? This is Max's style. It's very different than mine, where, he brought up the fact that he started at 89. He's going to compliment him here, kind of try to get him to open up a little bit. Because he is pretty standoffish, right? And he does need to do something to get him to open up. So I think this is a pretty wise move here to just see, like, hey, if I compliment him and we get him talking about something that's not the property, money, or anything like that, can this get him to talk more?
Robert?
Well, let's see.
Say that again one more time.
I haven't worked June, July, or August for 60 some odd years.
Wow.
You look young too.
Okay.
I had a soft life.
Right. So, I mean, since you are making cash flow, I mean, what else has you considering selling besides what we have here on the notes?
Why did I figure on selling?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, since you are making cash flow, I mean, what else has you considering selling?
What else have I figured selling? I have the house I'm living in here, and I have a townhouse with a pool, jacuzzi, fireplace.
Okay.
Big patio. I got a house over here I'm living in right now.
So this is interesting because Max does like to ask questions in a certain way. Like I said, highly trained. But there are times with what I've seen Max, the 2 runs that he had in the Closers Olympics, side sellers, there are times in the way that he frames questions that can be slightly confusing. Like, for example, the way he framed that right there is, you are making cash flow, so what else has you looking to sell? That was confusing. Probably a hearing issue due to the fact that this man is, about to be 89 years old. So I'm going to be interested to see how many times does the seller really understand what Max is asking. Because Max does have a way of asking questions to try to get him to open up. And like I said, he's trained to do it that way. I'm going to be interested to see how many times. This is the first time that I felt like he was confused by Max's question. See how many times the seller is confused throughout this.
With an acre, walled-in yard, and a large covered patio.
Okay. Got it. Well, I'd love to take a look at this as well. Is it okay if we just stay on the one on Euclid Avenue for now, just to see? Because at the end of the day, Robert, we don't buy every single property from everyone we talk to, right? That's impossible.
I can understand that.
And so that's my purpose of my call, to see if this even makes sense for us to buy and you to sell, right? Because it's your property too as well. So you play a big role in this. Just what besides talking to us, I mean, what else have you done about selling the property?
Nothing. Somehow word got out that I had some property for sale, and I keep getting multiple calls. And when somebody gives me a reasonable price, I can go up or down.
Okay.
And sell it. Right now, I'm just.
So he says, if someone could give me a reasonable price, my next question would be, well, what is a reasonable price for you? Okay. Now, I don't think Max is going to ask that question. That is my feeling. I think he is going to ask more questions and then come to price, because I think that's just his style, is not to go into numbers yet. He wants to identify the pain and the motivation and really get out of him. Why are you wanting to sell? Quite frankly, if I just had to make an assumption at this point, I would think that he's 89 years old. He doesn't want to be a landlord anymore or deal with it. If he can get the number that he wants, then he's willing to walk away. That's probably just an assumption on my part. And if I'm wrong, it's probably not a bad thing, because it's probably not much different than that. So let's see if he goes in. I hope he goes into asking what would be a reasonable price for you.
Waiting for an offer.
You're looking for an offer. So when you say a reasonable price, what do you mean by that?
Something that's not too far out of line.
Something that's good?
Yeah, regular. I know what property's going up, but it's worth more every year. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a set price for what I want, but I do have a set price I'm going to keep to myself.
See, that's why I would have asked him right there. I feel like this guy's a straight shooter. So I think if he'd said, I'm looking to get a reasonable price, and he said, well, what's that reasonable price? Let's just get down to it. Let's see if I can make that work. Because then he could have talked about, well, what's the cash flow off of that? And you want 300,000, and then how much are we getting? And now we can talk numbers. I feel like this seller is a pretty straight shooter and would understand that. But because he said, well, what do you mean by that? To me, I always feel like that gives the seller like comfortability, and then also the strong posture to say, I just want an offer. I want a good number. I've got a number in mind, but I'm going to keep that to myself. I'm always so curious to see how different this conversation would have been if he had just asked for it flat out right there. Just, well, what is that number? You've already got a number in mind. What is it? Let's see if we can make it work.
That's what I wouldn't sell it for.
Which would be?
Which would be, I told you, I'm going to keep it to myself.
You're going to keep it to yourself?
Yep.
Why?
All right. I'm a little confused. How am I supposed to buy the property if I don't know what I'm going to pay for it?
There you go.
Well, you got to figure that out, because you're the guy who's going to buy it and going to sell it.
Exactly. You're selling it. So see, I would push on that. Like, exactly, man. Like, you're selling it. You know what the number is. I'm not going to give you a number too high. Let's not play games. Like, boy, this guy's a pretty straight shooter. I wish I like where he went with that, where it's like, I'm confused. I don't understand. that falls in line with what I like to do, where it's like, hey, take that posture of being the buyer and you're the seller. Seller has the number. Seller needs to tell the buyer the number.
Whatever you're going to do with it.
Well, typically when I call people, usually when they talk about selling or they start wanting to sell, either that's, whatever, the night before or 30 days before, they usually have a number in mind. And just ballpark off record doesn't have to be exact. What are you looking to get for this? I mean,
so the off record, that's a big thing that Max does there. So off the record, what's the price? Again, hammering this home. And I love the fact that he's like really sticking here instead of moving on and then going on to like, condition or rent rate or, motivation or anything like that. He's really staying home here and trying to get this out of him. I think this is vitally important to the success of this call right here. So I love that question right there.
That way we don't go back and forth.
Like I said, you give me a number and I'll talk.
Well, I feel comfortable buying it. I feel comfortable buying it at 0. Where are you at?
Well, we got to go a little higher than that.
I love that. I've used the line $1. Okay, well, fine. I'll start at $1. Where are you starting at? And let's see if we can meet somewhere. That again, strong posture here by Max. Really liking how he's handling this. Even outside of that, just right there when he first brought this up, felt like maybe if he had asked it a little bit different, maybe he could have gotten the number, maybe not. But really like where he's at right now. This is a pretty good rebuttals back and forth between him and the seller.
When you say a little higher, what do you mean?
For $1.
For $1?
Yeah. You can't buy it for 0. You got to have some money down.
No, and I'm just joking, right, Robert? One thing I'm not trying to go.
Hard to find the comps for 3 houses on one lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what my rental income is?
Mm-hmm.
You can multiply it by 12 or 14 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a system when you buy as to how you can figure out what it's worth. So you come up with a number. If you can't figure it out, have somebody figure it out for you.
So it sounds like you just want people to give you offers, and at the end of the day, you're going to select which one's the highest.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not that guy. That's not how I run my business. And usually, when I talk to someone, if you're looking for the highest offer and not the offer you can depend on, I mean, you're more than welcome to take calls and just have people give you numbers.
I'm not looking for the highest offer. I'm looking for a reasonable offer.
Well, I mean, you're the only one that knows what that reasonable offer is. Just ballpark.
Right now, I don't know. Nobody made me an offer.
Why do you think that is?
Ooh.
Because it wasn't up for sale. All of a sudden, it's for sale.
So you're only wanting to. So it sounds to me like you're only wanting to sell because you're getting calls. You're not really looking to sell.
Well, that's what you think, but
bro. the call just got sexual over here, man. That was amazing. Where the quick rebuttal, and you could see right there, that is skill, training, reps, getting in, knowing what to say and when to say it and how to say it. There was a split second of silence there that Max had that was just. It was sick. And this video is slightly edited, so I feel like it might have even been a little bit longer. But man, that was really good by Max. I really like the past 5 minutes has been strong.
It's my property. I'm 88 years old. And
no, I know.
I have plenty of discretionary income every month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not strapped. I don't need the cash. I can't spend the money I have now. But I have 5 kids and
okay. I mean,
we're ready to make up a
everything
new
you
will,
just told me right now.
We're ready to make up a new will, and I should have some idea.
Mm-hmm. Everything you just told me right now, to me, it tells me, Max, I don't need to sell to you. If you want to make me an offer, make me an offer.
Right.
Okay.
You're damn right.
And it doesn't sound like I'm going to be your buyer, Robert. I really appreciate you. I'm not in the business
Take
of
care.
making blind offers.
Well,
One last question, Robert. When you bought this
Yeah.
property, how did that process look like for you? Did you just make the offer?
Woo.
To buy it?
Yeah. When you bought this property,
No. Well, it was listed at a price.
it had a price listed for it, right?
They had a
Woo.
price listed for it,
Okay.
and I figured it was within my range,
Mm-hmm.
and it was built by a curator from a museum in the town with his partner, and I thought it was a good move.
Right.
Oh my goodness. What a move. Hey, extreme pull away. Hey, Robert, this is not going to work out. I'm not going to be your buyer here. But one last question. When you bought this property, what did it look like for you? And then when he said, well, it was listed for sale and it had a price, he just hammered that home. Oh, so it had a price. I love the fact that he is stuck on the fact that it's like, hey, Robert, you've got a number, man. Let's stop playing games. Give me the number and let me see. The sellers just said it. Robert just said it. When I bought a property, it had a number and it worked for me. Max should now go into saying, hey, that's all I want. I want to know what is your number and see if it works for me. If he hammers that home, I feel like he might be able to at least get a range out of the seller.
Because I bought my first house for $35,000. I sold it for $215,000.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guest house out in Grant.
Right.
Where are you located, in Phoenix?
I am in Phoenix. Yeah, we buy a lot of properties in Tucson, though. We have 3 right now, or that we're looking to buy.
Oh, good.
Under
All
contract. Right. So, Robert, I mean, really quick, just can I get that same courtesy, just like when you bought it, there was a price on it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I might be.
Okay.
Well,
what are you looking to get for it?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How much you think one house is worth?
How much do I think?
Yeah. What's the average price for a house nowadays? Phoenix, Tucson.
The last time I looked, the average price for a house right now went up to $460,000.
Well, I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
I got 2 houses and a guest house.
But this is not a house. This is more of this is not just one house. We're talking about a whole compound here.
With me, yeah. I would think
1.2. He's going to say
somewhere around 550, 600,000 for 3 houses.
What?
Maybe.
That's confusing because he said, hey, what's the average price? 460. And he said, well, I have 3 of them. That led me to believe that he was going to say 1.2 and be in outer space. I look at Max's face right there. 500-600. He's like, oh, we might be onto something here. Yeah, I can see. But hey, what a masterclass right there by Max on getting the number out of a seller that was downright stubborn against giving that number. Masterclass, bro. Love it. Great job.
Maybe less, maybe more. I'd take less.
500
50
to $550,000.
Yeah, or 500, whatever you people want to offer. That too much?
Well, I don't know, Robert. I mean, you tell me. You think that's too much for me to pay for
Well,
those?
you're buying. I'm trying to sell. I gave you the price. What the hell's going on?
No, nothing. So it sounds like that's a big range. So let's pretend.
I love how he repeated it slower. There was like a little bit of pain in his voice. The little nuances there. Max is really good at a lot of the small little nuances when it comes to talking to sellers, specifically in like key moments. That was a key moment right there. Also because there's a certain level of like victory that Max has to feel actually just getting the number out. And mind you, here's the other thing. Max is live when he's doing this. So there's also like there's comments that are popping up. There's this feeling that there's going to be thousands of eyeballs on this video while he's doing it. It's not like he's just doing this in the privacy of his home. So really flexing his skill set right here. And then also just last thing, body language, right? It's not just the nuances with his voice, but it's also the body language. Sellers can hear your body language. So this like pained expression, rubbing his eyes right here when we're talking about numbers, and then he's going to ask him another question here. Really love everything that I'm seeing so far from Max on this call.
Now, I'm not saying I can't. I really haven't gotten the details right. Like, I don't know. I know you told me a little bit about what the property's cash flowing. Also, the bed and bath mix. In regards to the meter on the property, who pays utilities? Are they all individually metered for electricity, water, and all that?
I think I pay the water and they pay the utilities.
Okay.
The electric and gas.
Okay. So you pay the water and they pay the utilities.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Electric.
I see. So, yeah, and Barrett here, I'm looking online as I'm talking to you as well, just to make sure. Obviously, it's really hard sometimes online because it obviously doesn't show pictures or anything.
Are you looking at the property from above?
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's see. Pretty big lot.
It's maybe half the block.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a wash at the end of the 3-bedroom place, off-street parking.
I do see
They
that.
cleaned
Okay.
it up. It's like a park down there.
Right. Okay.
And the people that have the right of way through my property
Mm-hmm.
have improved their facilities. It looked like a dump, but they fixed it all up. They knew that the ground was worth something, and they modernized the homes just 50, 60 yards away and through the alley.
So this is interesting, right? Max got a number out of him. Now he's going into deal analysis. And what I'm curious about is he actually analyzing the deal, or was the deal already previously underwritten and he knows where he needs to be, and he's doing this because the price is actually too high? And so now he has to go into deal analysis to kind of educate the seller why he can't get $500,000 to $550,000. And also, I know that he knows the rent rate. It hasn't been disclosed to us as viewers yet, but that could also be playing an impact, right? Are these tenant occupied currently, or are they vacant? And then what is the rent rate if they are occupied?
Okay. So, all right, let me see. Let me check something real quick. Bear with me, okay?
You making any money?
What's
you
that?
You guys are hustling. Are you making any money?
We're about to find out. I got one more spot that I'm going to check, and I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Bear with me here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Get some comps.
Is it all right if I call you Bobcat? Because I heard your voicemail, Bobcat. Is that your nickname?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The guy gave me the name Bobcat about 20 years ago. And my 92-year-old brother says, imagine that. He lets people call him Bobcat. He's almost 90 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they say Bobcat, I know they're talking to me.
That's awesome.
El Gato.
Yeah, El Gato. Oh, yeah. Sí, hablo español, tú.
Oh, señor. I'm El Gato.
El Gato Loco. Hey, Bobcat, the house in the front, is that, you said it was a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
2-bedroom. 2-bedroom fireplace.
Okay. And then is that what does it have, 1 bathroom or 2 bathrooms?
Really opened up.
Got it.
Got a dining room, 2 bedrooms, and a living room with a fireplace. Big kitchen.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. I'm just trying to look what the average rents are going for in the area right now. Because how about the rents? When's the last time you increased the rents on those?
I haven't. I had a property manager for that front house, and I got one place I haven't increased the rent in 10 years. Townhouse with a pool and a jacuzzi.
Mm-hmm.
I got to have my head examined. Usually I kept it at below market value.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000.
Right. Keep the people in it, keep them happy.
Got it.
500
What was the
is
current
tough.
rent on that one, on the front house? One more time, Bobcat.
950.
950. Okay. Yeah. So that could be increased just a little bit depending on if you do the, I don't know what it looks
Yeah.
like or the repairs that you've done
Well,
to it.
2-bedroom, yeah. You can get the high rises are getting $600 for a bed,
Mm-hmm.
but modern,
Yeah. Okay.
they got 2 bedrooms and they charge $600 for each bed in one room. That's two beds in one room, and then the other room 600, 1,800
I
for
see.
2-bedroom place.
Okay. Perfect. So, Bobcat, I guess the $1 million question is, I'm not saying I can. I mean, obviously, I love to do some, with you. I love the nickname. Been a good conversation. What would happen if someone offered you 500,000, no money out of pocket, didn't have to make any repairs net to you? What would happen next?
Well, I'd start heading for Costa Rica or somewhere with the cash.
Costa Rica? What's in Costa Rica?
But cheap place to live. On the beach. No, I would take the money and run.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you would sell.
I'd sell.
Okay. All right. And basically, when someone tells me that, they usually when someone says they would sell, they would feel comfortable putting things in writing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, if you're going to buy, you're going to have a meeting of the minds of the seller and the buyer.
Yeah, of course. We don't want to do backbush handshakes. I think that those days are gone.
I personally, I understand why he does what he does here. This goes back to his training. If I were to give you $500,000, what would happen next? Are you good with putting this in writing? I just feel like with this type of seller, he could have. I always want a closer to have the ability to not do everything the same way, the same with every seller, right? He could have been a little bit more straightforward. Like, if he's willing to do this at 500, like, hey, Bobcat, I say I'm good at $500,000. Are you ready to move forward right now? All right, I'm going to send you over a contract. Let's go over it together. Something along those lines. It's a different personality, but also I think it goes back to the training. I think Max's training he's a machine when it comes to the way that he asks certain questions and not freedom to say things differently based off of this seller's personality. Or maybe they like this with this personality. I didn't love that part, but I loved everything inside of it. It still looks like it's going to work out because this guy wants to sell. He wants the 500,000. His answer was, "I take it and run with it." So I think it's going to work out. Just would have amended that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like if someone was to offer you 500,000 net to you, you would feel comfortable selling, putting things in writing.
How'd that sound to you? You've got to do the buying, and you mentioned what the houses are selling for, but
of course,
sure.
Bobcat wants an answer.
Appreciate you for asking that.
Give it to him.
Well, I mean, I'm there. I'm close to that. The next thing for me would be, to come out and take a look at that. Look at the property if that's possible. I don't know if you can make that happen for me.
That's the next thing.
Well, I don't want to disturb the tenants right now because a lot of people are interested.
Yeah. So Bobcat, one thing we've done in the past with other people that have had investment properties, and obviously that's always the biggest fear, is going out to the property and scaring the tenants. One thing we've done is we've come in as a contractor, maybe to get quotes, a landscaper. We don't actually talk to the tenants. You can tell them like, hey, I got a window guy coming out, or I got a landscaper to give me a quote. And it's worked really well with them.
Oh, good.
I don't know.
I never thought of that.
I'm sorry?
I haven't thought of that till now.
Yeah. So, you just let them know like, hey, I have somebody that's giving me some quotes on windows. And we don't talk to tenants because we understand the importance of, the problem that it could cause if they find out like, hey, he's looking to sell. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the objection there really was, is it that he doesn't want to disturb the tenants, or that he doesn't want to disturb the tenants until he knows that he has a buyer. So my next move would have been, let's get a signed contract. Then we're going to come out and do our inspections, because it's okay to disrupt the tenants, because we know that you are coming out as a potential buyer and we put that in writing. You were so confident at your $500,000 number, you put it in writing to have a signed binding agreement. I'm curious if that was the objection. And Max, again, a little bit awkward that he said, hey, the next thing I want to do is come see it. I would have assumed they would have done this like a virtual wholesale deal, or, hey, let's contract it, because we don't want to waste our time coming out and analyzing it and then have to renegotiate price and things like that, which is common if you don't just contract it first.
Exactly. Start packing. So what if we come in, if you let tenants know when we come into, as a contractor, whatever you want to tell them, window, landscaper, like I said, we don't talk to them, and we'll be in and out in less than 15 minutes. I just, want to look at a couple of things, being that this is, a property that has multiple dwellings, it's built in 69. I just want to confirm some things, and then I can tell you, hey, that price works, and we can put everything in writing.
Okay. My wife is a joint owner with me. I need to discuss it with her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's the other thing, right?
No problem.
Yeah. While you're discussing it with her, is Carol, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. While you're discussing it with her, and then what I'm gonna do is right now, when I get off this call, don't get on any call, okay, Robert? I'm gonna have Carl call you, so we can schedule that call back with you, so we can go walk the property, and let's get you to Costa Rica, man. Go drink some pina coladas.
Okay. Okay. Take it easy. Bye. I got to get moving right now. Okay. Bye.
Sounds good, Robert. Take care.
Bye.
Carl's gonna call you.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
You too. Bye. Woo. All right.
Woo, indeed. All right. Great call by Max. It didn't necessarily end with getting a signed contract, but not every call needs to end with getting a signed contract. Maybe he really just, that was their process whenever this call was placed, is, hey, we need to come out. We need to verify the condition prior to contracting. And I'm not going to hate on them if that's their business process. At least they have a process. And you could definitely tell throughout that call that they have a sales process. They have a closing process. Absolute masterclass by Max on getting a price out of a stubborn seller that refuses to give it to you. Love that part of the call, probably more than any other part. Just the extreme pull away. I'm not going to be your buyer, but let me ask you one more question. And when he did that, it got the number out of Bobcat. Love that part. Max, you're definitely a closer, man. You're a great closer. I've said it time and time again. I think you're one of the most skilled and best trained closers that I've seen in this industry that has put themselves out there on social media where we can consume your calls. Just over and over and over again, I'm so impressed at different moments of calls that people would stumble and bumble and just give up on. Quite frankly, a lot of people would have just given up during that moment, moved on to something else, and then actually just made an offer. But you embraced no. You were willing to say, I am the buyer. I'm going to get a number out of you. And if that leads to us getting off of this phone call without having a signed contract, I'm okay with it. And due to that strong posture and that confidence, it got the number out and probably led to a deal. Max, great close, man. Great conversation with a seller. I appreciate you, brother, for putting yourself out there for the masses to see. For me to witness that, that was awesome. I love that. I love being able to react to these types of calls right here, where you can see it's not only just about the call and the close, but it's about the skill, the reps that you have put in to be able to be a machine to do that over and over and over again. And it was obvious during this that was something that you had done many times. That wasn't just a one-time thing that you pulled out. That right there was reps. You are a closer. All right, guys, let me know what you think about Max in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week on The King Closer Reacts.